like an infidel. Don't forget the chest, you gotta get as well. Sitting in your penthouse, I know you can tell. Habibi gang's gonna send your ass to hell.
Yossi on the track, and it's not nice.
That Yousef Yousefstani, ayy. Shout out Yukon City, man. Ain't no city like Yukon City, man. Yeah, ayy. I'ma make it big one day. High tower and shit. Me and my Habibi's lit. All that fusion rolling in. Corporals think they own us. Yukon can suck my dick, he got his own controlling name. Fuck that propaganda, yeah, my channel it shows it. Habibi gang, we never quit. Number one in Yukon, little Yossi's dropping that heat. Looking at these gangers, all they ever do is beat. Like how'd you get done up by a man with sandals on his feet? Like how'd you get locked up when your power can't even compete? Got nothing going for you, you're just living for CC. What's the point of trying when you get laid out on your cheeks? Boy, just stick to dying, you got no damn room to speak. Even call Chester up just to tell you your shit's sweet.
This is on my phone. Too bad I was busy giving touching on my bone. Cause be trying to grab me, yeah, they coming from my throne. Stupid little bitch, yeah, come get overthrown. I'm in my zone. I'm shooting at Augustin matches makers with my own. And fuck, trip to come to. Fuck that beaver cleaver bitch. I'ma feed him this poo. Cause me and Yousefstani bitch, and we came with the crew. Huh, well. Shit, you thought we were through? I'm choking on some meds until that dumb bitch goes blue. Struck my shit up like a tower while they're taking the view. Then let it rain all over your tires, call it Chester's debut.
Stand up to the Yossi like an infidel. Don't forget the chest, you gotta get as well. Sitting in your penthouse, I know you can tell. Habibi gang's gonna send your ass to hell. Stand up to the Yossi like an infidel. Don't forget the chest, you gotta get as well. Sitting in your penthouse, I know you can tell. Habibi gang's gonna send your ass to hell. Stand up to the Yossi like an infidel. Don't forget the chest, you gotta get as well. Sitting in your penthouse, I know you can tell. Habibi gang's gonna send your ass to hell.
Yossi on the track, and it's not nice.
That Yousef Yousefstani, ayy. Shout out Yukon City, man. Ain't no city like Yukon City, man. Yeah, ayy. I'ma make it big one day. High tower and shit. Me and my Habibi's lit. All that fusion rolling in. Corporals think they own us. Yukon can suck my dick, he got his own controlling name. Fuck that propaganda, yeah, my channel it shows it. Habibi gang, we never quit. Number one in Yukon, little Yossi's dropping that heat. Looking at these gangers, all they ever do is beat. Like how'd you get done up by a man with sandals on his feet? Like how'd you get locked up when your power can't even compete? Got nothing going for you, you're just living for CC. What's the point of trying when you get laid out on your cheeks? Boy, just stick to dying, you got no damn room to speak. Even call Chester up just to tell you your shit's sweet.
This is on my phone. Too bad I was busy giving touching on my bone. Cause be trying to grab me, yeah, they coming from my throne. Stupid little bitch, yeah, come get overthrown. I'm in my zone. I'm shooting at Augustin matches makers with my own. And fuck, trip to come to. Fuck that beaver cleaver bitch, I'ma feed him this poo. Cause me and Yousefstani bitch, and we came with the crew. Huh, well. Shit, you thought we were through? I'm choking on some meds until that dumb bitch goes blue. Struck my shit up like a tower while they're taking the view. Then let it rain all over your tires, call it Chester's debut.
Stand up to the Yossi like an infidel. Don't forget the chest, you gotta get as well. Sitting in your penthouse, I know you can tell. Habibi gang's gonna send your ass to hell. Stand up to the Yossi like an infidel. Don't forget the chest, you gotta get as well. Sitting in your penthouse, I know you can tell. Habibi gang's gonna send your ass to hell. Stand up to the Yossi like an infidel. Don't forget the chest, you gotta get as well. Sitting in your penthouse, I know you can tell. Habibi gang's gonna send your ass to hell.
Yossi on the track, and it's not nice.
that Yousef Yousefstani. Ayy, shouts at Yukon City, man. Ain't no city like Yukon City, man. Yeah, ayy. I'ma make it big one day. High tower and shit. Me and my Habibi's lit. All that fusion rolling in. Corporals think they own us. Yukon can suck my dick, he got his real controlling name. Fuck that propaganda, yeah, my channel it shows it. Habibi gang, we never quit. Number one in Yukon, little yes, he's dropping that heat. Looking at these gangers, all they ever do is beat. Like how'd you get done up by a man with sandals on his feet? Like how'd you get locked up when your power can't even compete? Got nothing going for you, you're just living for CC. What's the point of trying when you get laid out on your cheeks? Boy, just stick to dying, you got no damn room to speak. Even call Chester up just to tell you your shit's weak.
You see him on my phone. Too bad I was busy giving touching on my bone. Cost me trying to grab me, yeah, they coming from my throne. Stupid little bitch, yeah, come get overthrown, I'm in my zone. I'm shooting at Augustin, might just make his with my own. And fuck, trip to come to. Fuck that beaver cleaver bitch, I'ma feed him this poo. Cause me and Yousef Yousefstani bitch, and we came with the crew. Huh, well, shit, you thought we were through? I'm choking on some meds until that dumb bitch goes blue. Struck my shit up like a tower while they're taking the view. Then let it rain all over Taj, call it Chester's debut.
Stand up to the Yossi like an infidel. Don't forget the chest, he got a gat as well. Sitting in your penthouse, I know you can tell. Habibi gang's gonna send your ass to hell. Stand up to the Yossi like an infidel. Don't forget the chest, he got a gat as well. Sitting in your penthouse, I know you can tell. Habibi gang's gonna send your ass to hell. Stand up to the Yossi like an
Assalamu alaikum, Habibi TV. I've gathered you all here today for some breaking news. Now, I've recently had a few developments reach my office early last week, and you're all going to want to tune into this. So, I'm going to give you all a quick brief of what we're going to cover today, and I've got some interviews lined up. But let's go ahead and get on with this. So, we're going to be talking about a few developments, such as collusion between the empowered elites of our society and humans on the outside of the containment zone. And from that, I'm going to introduce you guys to a new theory that I've managed to spin up, and it's completely been fact-checked and backed by Habibi TV, but it's got to do with a all-new society. I wouldn't say new, this society has sort of existed for hundreds, thousands of years even prior to our existence. But we'll get into all of that soon. Let's start off the interview with I did want to give a couple of shout outs. I've been working on a new album ever since the debut album that you guys were hearing in the beginning of the video. Worked really hard with Chesty on that one. I'm really proud of how it performed. I'm really proud of you guys. But that's besides the point. Some of the content we went over in that in that song was very relevant to the fact that I'm about to present to you today. And if you're reading the scrolling text, then you can kind of get a faint idea on what's been going on. So, we all know about corporations and how they don't care about us at all in the slightest whatsoever. Now, what if I told you that all these corporate entities, everyone sitting at the very top of our food chain, at the very top of the wealth ladder, they all tie in hand to a much larger scheme than what we all know as today. You see, these corporations, people like Tajima Iku, Augustin Mornil, Alton Garçon, they're all puppets. None of them are real. What's real is the species that I mentioned earlier. I call them the bugs, personally. But I did have an expert coming in later today to talk about these bugs, but essentially they're like an alien species. Almost, they look like insects, but they resemble the shape of a human. They are much larger And later on in the next segment that we go over this, I'll have some illustrations to demonstrate for you guys. But for now, these bugs, they're responsible for tons of inventions that have brought about, the advancement of our society. You see, we've got skyscrapers that tower out to the fucking stars and shit. And, this didn't just come from the innovation of the human mind. No, this came from the technological and intelligent prowess of the bugs. Now, these bugs, they're responsible for tons of inventions all throughout history, like the wheel, farming, the pyramids, and just about any discovery that led to our exponential growth. They helped develop just so that they could advance a society like ours to rule over from the shadows, rather than leading over a bunch of half-evolved monkeys. Now, some might ask, why don't these bugs just outright conquer our people? Well, you see, this alien species, it's too intelligent and too small in numbers to reproduce as fast as we do. You see, us empowered, us humans, we are very versatile beings, and we have an adaptability like no other to conform to our environment. The bugs, on the other hand, they are far more intelligent, and they like to play things through deception. Now, they deceive and rule through established hierarchies from the shadows, but they did not account for the existence of the empowered genes. They watched the first empowered achieve outright superhuman things, people like Mateo decimating armored vehicles, decimating entire pyramids, people like Moses parting the Red Sea. Their technology, as advanced as it was, things like the wheel, farming, the pyramids, it just could not keep up with the feats of the supernatural empowered. And that's why they have adopted their strategy of operating from the shadows. The bugs are a very smart species. They knew that with time and freedom, that we, the empowered people, could break free from the bugs. So they planned for centuries and centuries on how to deal with us. And, we all know about the big explosion of empowered activity back in the 80s. Some of you older folk definitely know about it. Some of you who were in prior containment zones. I've taken a lot of reports from firsthand captives from the Mers Defer containment zone. And, they could go on all about it, but I'm going to keep things brief for you guys here. But this development of high amounts of empowered activity, I mean, they were empowered walking everywhere in the streets. And some might argue it was a good thing to have that kind of diversity, but ultimately things did dissolve into chaos between human and empowered coexistence. And this development of having empowered so famous, so revered by society, it prompted the bugs to act. And so they did, through the United Nations. And now the United Nations, don't get me wrong, the bugs most definitely have a hand in that. I can guarantee you everyone in the United Nations is controlled by the bugs, alongside most national governments that exist in today's society. But they began to work to seclude empowered from society, and they made the elites, people like Tajima, people like Alton, people like Mornil. They made them use their money and their resources to fund pseudoscientific research justifying the poor treatment of empowered. They branded us out to society and brainwashed everyone into thinking that we are crazy, into thinking that we are deranged, into locking us up. And so that's why the United Nations built these containment zones that we live in today. I know a lot of people are going to get upset with me. I know people under the influence of the bugs are definitely going to get upset with me. I know the bugs themselves are watching, and I will tell you right now, I am not afraid of you. Habibi gang is not afraid of you. If you want a war, you could bring it on, cause Habibi gang will never quit. Y'all remember that from debut. Me and Chesty, we will wipe the bugs. But moving on, so I've established that these containment zones are in fact produced by the bugs, and I've established that the elites are operated by the bugs. Just about every mega corporate leader, every government official that exists inside and outside of the zone is controlled by the bugs, including the sectorate. Top sectorate officers, I can most definitely guarantee you, wallahi, they are controlled by the bugs. So, these containment zones, what are they used for, right? Well, it's very apparent that the containment zones are schemes for very, very cheap labor, and in fact, they are a testing ground for the empowered genetics. You see, we've all heard of the shady things the Mornell family does, shady things the Terminal Group does. That crazy event we had, the whole incident with the dudes in white terrorizing the zone. Yeah, everyone knows what I'm talking about. If you've been around in the Limbs district, you know what I'm talking about. Now, these elites, they are most definitely harnessing funding through the scientific community to extend their own lives in power. Now, these bugs, a lot of them have employed gene slicing to install empowerments into themselves, and others subservient to their will. Now, what do I mean by subservient to their will? Well, you see, these bugs, they splice these empowerments, or they're subservient lesser counterparts. We'll call them puppets. They splice empowerments from people like you and I and implant it into themselves and their servants. People like Tajima Iku, people like Augustin Mornell. You think they're empowered? They are not empowered. They are what I like to call gene weavers. You know, entrails, you know, Samantha, you know, Tara, you know, I could go on and on and on, but these people, all of them, they are spliced, they are gene weavers, they are not real empowered, they are mere byproducts of the bugs. They are made to serve, and they are made to keep us at the bottom of society. They are made to keep us in containment. Those who have keen expertise with all matters biological, assimilators, splicers, even those with negligible empowerments that don't even function as real empowerments, like telekinetics. What is that? That is not an empowerment. Like the teleporters, that is not an empowerment. People like them, they are all gene weavers. I can guarantee you with utmost confidence that they are all gene weavers. Now, I've brought Dr. God, what was his name? Dr. Rodrigo Mendes Oliveira out here today with me. He is a expert in the bug theory, and he was actually a captive transfer from the Brazil containment zone. Now, I've got him out here today with me in the studio. Dr. Rodrigo, would you be so kind as to step up onto the couch?
Yousef,
hello, Doctor.
it is my utmost pleasure to be able to share this evening with you and all of the viewers that are watching so attentively to this broadcast, which is of utmost importance to all people, not only in the containment zone, but also the. Now, I would like to begin first by commenting on some of the things you've said, of course. Because as you know, I have done quite a bit of research, right?
Mm-hmm.
For my background, for everyone watching, my name is Rodrigo Mendes Oliveira. I am 38 years old. I come from the Brazilian containment zone. When I was a teenager, It was revealed to me in a dream that there were people on the earth controlling not only the elites, not only the financial elites, but also the politicians and the institutions themselves. So I began my research. There were people on the earth controlling, which was revealed to me certainly by a higher power. This was a time where the internet was picking up quite fast, and there wasn't a lot of censorship when I was a teenager. The bugs were still figuring out our human technology, which of course is much worse than theirs, but they were still figuring it out. They were trying to understand these archaic codes. To them were archaic, of course. And through this lack of censorship, I did my research, Yousef, and I consider myself a sort of expert on this topic.
I'm sorry, Doctor, did you just rip one out?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Right. It must have been a...
Did you rip one out?
No. It must have just been a mic error. Continue, sorry.
Right, no, yeah, this is something that happens when you talk about the bugs, because they like to call them psychic inhibitors, of course, but this is bug technology. You think human beings would have come up with these machines that can stop brainwaves of these supposedly empowered people? No,
most
that is bug
not.
Technology. No, of course not. You have to be very dumb to believe that sort of thing. So these psychic inhibitors, they pick up your brain waves, of course, in a place like the limbs in this district. And it wasn't like this where I came from, of course. This is very, very interesting because here they have the excuse of the supposed cryptids, which, as we all know, of course, is very, very obviously just simply failed by biological research by companies like Trypticon, which are owned by bugs, of course. But these psychic inhibitors, they pick up your brain waves. And when you think of something like the bugs, the psychic inhibitors, they release these micro EMPs into the air. So transmissions like ours, Yousef, they are prone to find several mistakes as we go, several errors because of the bugs and their transmitter blockers. But anyways, I'm getting out of topic here. Yousef, as I was saying, I like to consider myself an expert on the topic. And regarding your introduction, it was flawless. I could not have put it better myself.
I appreciate that, Doctor. Thank you very much. I feel like I've got the whole bug theory put together, and I feel like after this segment, a lot of our viewers will have too.
No, yes, of course. Again, every reasonable person who watches this transmission will understand the truth, and they will fight for what is right, of course.
Right, I just wanted to add that, like, honestly, as a general reminder, this is not a battle of empowered and humans, nor is it a battle between the rich and the poor. This is a battle for the freedom and the liberty in the name of self-determination for both humans and empowered. Now, I guarantee you all that the humans outside of the zone have no clue about what is going on behalf of the bug people, what is going on behalf of the gene weavers.
Yousef, and this is very, very important. I would really like to hammer this in. Because as a normal person in the outside world right now, ignoring all the catastrophes which are going on as a result of the conflict of the bugs, when you are a normal person outside of there, right, outside of these walls which contain us, you were prone to propaganda which is on a level that we are unable to comprehend. It's like every single piece, every single frame has some encoded message in every sort of media, every single millisecond of audio, every single frame of a movie, of a show, of a transmission that is not of a source like ours. It is everywhere. This propaganda is everywhere. And these bugs, these elites, they have built these systems to make us subservient, to make us weak. And these systems, they are very, very well researched. To be an independent man outside of these walls is to beat thousands of the most capable brains that have been perverted by the bugs that are working to keep you weak. It is to combat billions, trillions of credits put into making you weak. Being an independent man outside of the zone is almost impossible. And this is good to us. This puts us in a position from which we can mount an organization Okay, we can mount a resistance movement from within these walls against these bugs, against these elites, without falling victim to this propaganda, without falling victim to these systems which they've put in place to make everyone weak, without these apps, these Chinese apps, which drain your brain of dopamine, of course, and make you not wanna do anything at all. You know, depression. Do you think 1,000 years ago, Yousef, people were depressed?
No, not at all.
No, no. It is a bug invention.
I think
that
1,000
they've
years ago,
artificially-
people were efficient, they were productive. 1,000 years ago, people didn't have to worry about needless things like elites and gene weavers and bugs controlling them, bugs after them.
No, we were animals, you know. We would fight, we would die, we would have children.
Exactly.
We would marry, we would live normal, natural lives until these bugs created these apps which drain our brain of dopamine and make us depressed, that we cannot, you know, understand what is going on around us.
Let me put it this way. These bugs sought to control our intelligence so bad that they developed a little device that you slot into your head and you use like a phone, and you use to text your friends, and you use to watch YouTube and videos and streams.
It is in your head.
Exactly what you're watching right now. It is in your head.
your head.
They are in your head. They are staring at you. They are watching you. They are monitoring you. Everything you think, every time you sleep, every time you dream. They are monitoring you. They are watching you. They are after you. They know everything you do. They know where you go. They know where the sneaky links happen. They know where you stash your cash. They know where you keep your credit. They know all the private conversations you have, the stuff that you think nobody will know, the stuff between, you know, you and me and you. We'll keep this a secret. No, it is not a secret. The bugs know. The bugs have deciphered it, and the bugs have accounted for it in their grand scheme of things. Every step
Absolutely,
you take, the bugs have already taken
terrible.
to further.
Absolutely terrible.
Now, our sovereignty has essentially been stolen by these bugs, which rule us from the shadows. They live deep beneath the earth in bases hidden by technology that we've just begun to match them on. I mean, we've all seen how far the zone has come in terms of technology. But I do want to remind you all that this technology is not necessarily our creation. Remember, the gene weavers are putting forth this technology and exploiting it and keeping a tight hold over it as a means to control us. It is only making it easier.
It is very
to control
sad,
us.
Yousef. It is very sad because one can only wonder the great things of which our minds are capable of. What kind of society would we have built with our great minds had these bugs not landed on Earth with the intent to conquer us? What would society
sorry
look
to
like?
cut
What
you
would
off,
the world
Doctor,
be?
but we have just received a $500 donation from Julian Salvador, and he says, "I've seen Tajima shift into a bug before. They're real. Keep up the good work." Thank you so much, Julian. We appreciate the donation. Thank you for your support. See, I'm glad that there's more people that have seen this than just the two of us. Isn't that right, Doctor?
And again, they are very aware that this kind of information tends to spill over, that people see things as they live that are weird, that are off-putting. But it's very easy for you to be dismissed as simply a crazy lunatic, conspiracy theory. My ex-wife left me because of this. My ex-wife, she thought that I was consumed with this research which is so important to me, because I am 100% certain that my father, and we were from Rio de Janeiro, it's a Brazilian city, it's a very violent city. It's like that because of the bugs. My father, he was a police officer. He was murdered by one of the cartels, which were put on an assignment to gang stalk me and my family when I started this research. And I heard the story from many other people. So this means a lot to me, and this means a lot undoubtedly to many people which have suffered
really sorry for
the
that,
abuse.
Doctor. I'm really sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It just goes to show who sits on top of these cartels, though, does it not?
Yeah, absolute crime. There is no crime. Crime is an invention by the bugs to make us look inwards as opposed to outwards. Crime is quite literally like not natural, okay? Crime is not something that would happen in a natural, bug-free society. We would not think to murder and steal from each other. That is not something that our brains would even think up of. Someone installed that. Someone installed that as a possibility into our brains.
I mean, just look at one of the biggest names that's ever come out of, empowered creations, Jason Paler. I mean, he was one of the most destructive empowered of all time. And I'd say a lot of the reason why we're treated the way we are is because the bugs, they made him what he is. He was a product of gene weaving. He was as strong as he was because the bugs deemed it so. And he is the reason why a lot of us are mistreated by the sector, locked away in cages like this. And I'd even go as far as to say, just as the cartel were controlled by the bugs, that you could go and look at all the independence movements in Africa. Look at all the independence movements from Africa. All these people fighting for their independence, breaking out of the British Empire, French Empire, nationalism. India, you've got Mahatma Gandhi. You think one man could unite a whole nation to strike out against an empire as strong as the British Empire? It is simply not plausible without the help of the bugs. They put him in place of India so that they too could control India. Look at the fucking look at 9/11 for crying out loud. You think planes magically teleported past the U.S. Air Force? You think George Bush just let a terrorist attack from the other end of the globe magically strike the biggest city in the United States? That just does not happen. He is another puppet of the bugs. You've got 9/11, as a matter of fact, was just baseless justification for strikes on the Middle East. It was an attempt by the bugs to finally establish control over innocent, God-fearing Muslims.
And religion is such a complex topic with the bugs, because as you've explained, Yousef, these bugs, they are not human. They do not think like us, right? They are these species from another planet, from another empire, a galactic empire. And they, as you've said, right, and this is the trend of every society, that is you get smarter as the technology becomes more available, you have less children. This is a trend. This is a trend that is true for every sentient human being. And this is a trend that is true for them as well. These bugs, they only have children every few hundreds of years. So their numbers are very, very low, but they sustain this galactic empire through this sort of machination, through this sort of intrigue, which plagues our current society. They go to these planets which haven't evolved yet, and they help them evolve, so that in the process they can plant these sort of systems through which they can rule from the shadows, from beneath the earth. This is what I saw in my dream when I was 12, when I was just a little innocent child. I saw them beneath the earth scheming. Their big insectoid eyes, they were talking amongst each other, whispering in a language that I will never understand. None of us will ever understand, because they are not human. They do not care for us. There is no sympathy. We're like sheep for them. You understand? It's very sad. It's very sad. They're not capable of empathy. They do these things to us, and they do not care. And this is why you, as an individual, as an empowered, as a human being, you cannot care when you strike back. There must be no sympathy when you strike back against these elites, these controlled elites. You must not feel for what you're striking against. That is not human. That is not of human machination. Those are not human things. You understand, Yousef?
They most definitely are not. They are subhuman. They are otherworldly. They are beneath us. We are the most adaptable species on Earth, and our power comes from our numbers. When we can join forces together and stop needless fighting, gang among gang, then we can finally set aside our differences and turn to the elitists, the gene weavers that the bugs have placed in power, people like Tejima Iku, people like Augusta Morneau. These people need to be found. These people need to be persecuted by all all ends of empowered society, and they need to be questioned. We need them to lead us right back to the bugs so we could put an end to this level of control over our society once and for all, so we can get out of these containment zones. You know, we are not the only ones in containment zones. There are containment zones all over the world with people just like us, people who have not awoken and realized the truth as to what is really going on today. Now, I want to turn your guys' attention back to the subject of religion, where we were talking about how the bugs, they do not believe in any God. Now, there's been some information presented to us, some clips, some snippets sent into my office of these ritualistic procedures that we're seeing. They've been growing greater in number. Sightings of demons, or people who take on the appearance of demons, have grown greater in number. Doctor, if you would be so kind as to come join me over at the presentation board.
Of course.
Right. So,
the
here are just
foundation
a
of
couple of
Satanism
snippets of
is built
what's
upon
really been going on
self
behind the scenes. I'm not sure
and
if
carrying
you are
out
aware of these
the devil's
activities,
work.
but this is very much real.
Hail
This is very
Satan.
much happening.
Hail Satan!
We have
Hail
these
Satan!
elitists, these
Hail
generators
Satan!
taking in what appears to be satanic rituals.
The foundation of Satanism
See, the
is
bugs,
built
they look at religion
upon
as a
self
logistic means. They see it as a tool to pervert our
and
God
carrying
and our
out
beliefs to control us.
the devil's
Because
work.
again, this is a different
Hail
species.
Satan.
We must
Hail
rule
Satan!
We're not being ruled by a class
Hail
of human
Satan.
beings.
Hail
They're
Satan!
literally an alien species. These people cannot comprehend
The foundation of
religion
Satanism
like we
is
do.
built
They worship
upon
only the
self
technology that they've used to conquer
and
us
carrying
and conquer
out
hundreds of other planets.
Oh, I'm sorry.
These
the devil's
videos,
work.
Right, I love
what happened?
It was playing the satanic rituals, yeah. I apologize for that. It appears
this
as
is
if
what
the
I
bugs
mean.
have
This is what I
infiltrated
mean.
our
This is what I
production
mean. This is what
studio.
I've been talking about. I have been fighting for this for like 25 years of my life. I have been saying that this sort of technology, this sort of brainwave shit, is literally just there to just mess with this kind of transmissions which try to tell the truth.
Exactly. And, you know, control is everything to these bugs. They have planted Satanism within the elites. The elites partake in satanic rituals such as, I mean, you could go look at Morneau. Why do you think he's got so many children? I can guarantee you he's had tenfolds more. They sacrifice these children and drink the blood of their babies and worship Satan and demons of Abrahamic religion, all artificially propelled by the bugs who also control these elites. It is all a means of praising the bugs. This is why. When was the last time you've seen Iris Morneau in the limbs? Answer me that. When was the last time you've seen Iris Morneau in the limbs? Where is Iris, Mr. Morneau? I know you're out there watching this. What happened to Iris? Where is Iris? I can tell you one thing. She's probably at the bottom of his stomach, a pool of blood.
It's just
Right, sorry
terrible.
for that interruption on the stream. It appears to be another interference from the bugs. I think Mr. Mornell did in fact catch wind of the message, but anyways, moving on. Rodrigo, right? Dr. Rodrigo, did you have anything to add on to that?
Well, this is one good point from which we can talk about why the elites even agree to this. Because one must wonder, if human empathy is indeed human, why do these people that are part of our species partake in this sort of thing? Why do they rule over us?
Because they're not human.
And
they're not human.
the elites, they've been psyoped just like us by these bugs. And this sort of satanic ritual, which is being shown behind me, and which I've seen many, many times throughout my career, the satanic ritual is one of the ways to which the bugs artificially implant this sense of community among the elites. They surround themselves with themselves around these satanic worshipping rituals and their wicked perversions, which have all been installed by the bugs, and their money and their power. All of this has been implanted by the bugs so that they feel different, so that they feel better than us, the plebs. The elites, they think themselves a different species when they are not. They are just tools. They do not understand this.
I would like to add that a new bit of information came in to add on to this video. As you see, you could see 3 people in black robes in the clip. It has just been confirmed to me that the woman in the black mask with the red blood painted over the eyes is in fact Mrs. Nora Casanova from the Terminal Group. As you can see, these people are very much real, and this is indeed fact checked by Habibi TV. This is right here. This is exactly what is going on in our society. Nora Casanova, one of the council members of the Terminal Group. These are your corporate leads. These are your employers. These are your adversaries. These are your suppliers. They sell food to us. They sell weapons to us. They sell other sorts of gears to our people. And the money we make, it flows right back into them. I guarantee you that. It flows right back into their pockets. The money we make is not in fact money at all. You take this outside of the zone and you won't get anything for it. Just further adding on to the labor camps that the bugs have placed us in and will continue to keep us in unless we wipe out all of these elites and seek back control over our own freedom and liberty. These people, they fear no God. They don't fear Christ. They don't fear Allah. They don't fear Moses. They fear no one. And that is exactly what makes them dangerous. Did you have anything to add on, Dr. Rodrigo?
I think it is interesting that you mentioned money, Yousef, because money is also not a natural concept.
Mm-hmm.
We as human beings do not have developed money independently. This is undoubtedly something of their creation, of the bugs' creation. This is how they can keep us under control. Many people, when I was a teenager, used to look at systems such as the old credit score system, social credit score system from China, and say that it was horrible. But we live under the same sort of system through credit card debt and the fees that the bank put on us, and all of these percentages that they take from our credits and our money and our assets. This is all just ways that they can keep you under control. You say one wrong thing and they shut down everything that you own that is digital. And believe me, you do not understand how much of your assets, how much of your name is digital until they do that to you. They did that to me many, many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was terrible. It was the worst experience of my life. They were burning my money. I was homeless for a while. This was right after my ex-wife left me. So I was very, very shattered. And it is my purpose. It is my purpose to fight these bugs, to fight these elites. It is why I live. And it's why I think many of you should live. I think this is the sort of purpose that many, many young and empowered are looking for. This is why we feel empty. We live in a society that is not human. We live in a society that is not made by humans. How could you not feel empty? How could you not feel out of place? This is all of their creation. Money is of their creation. Jobs, cars, buildings, it's all their creation. They made all of this, Yousef.
Mm-hmm. I understand completely. None of the technology we see today. And actually, I am reading a few critiques in the chat as to some confusion in what the professor is talking about. If you find yourself confused with anything that we have said so far at all, I would honestly go and get that neural port in your head removed right now. Do not keep a neural port on you, because I guarantee you, the corporation you bought that neural port from, the whole neural interface, Neptune's Grace, Iker, it's the chip. It is exactly the chip. Remove your chips, remove your sector chips, remove your NICs, remove all forms of technology from yourselves that you have not produced yourselves. You do not want to associate yourselves with anything that could compromise you to the bugs monitoring systems. They are far more sophisticated than anything we have ever seen. You do not want to get yourself involved in their brain scans. We have seen people permanently die in this zone, and they come back walking the next day. These are not the people that we once knew. These are gene weavers brought back by the bugs, resurrected by the bugs in these satanic rituals performed by the elites to bring them back from the dead. These are not the people we once knew. Dr. Morgan, not Dr. Morgan, sorry. Dr. Rodrigo, you can see where I'm coming from, can't you?
I have done research on the system of CC, which is of course also a bug invention. But what they do during CC is they release some legitimate clones. So these are bodies, some of the bodies that are released out there, okay? They are bodies that are legitimate with the memories of the deceased, and perhaps, and this is a discussion which is ongoing, of course, but perhaps even the soul of the deceased, the essence of the deceased. And then some of the bodies which they release, some of the people which they resurrect as plants. It's not the deceased anymore. It's not the people you knew. Those are plants. So they do this on purpose to confuse you. They do this so that, because again, it doesn't matter to them if some random street thug gets back alive. But it does matter to them if some random street thug is a plant of theirs. They can collect information through that. And it's good that they keep us confused through releasing legitimate CCs and fake ones so that we do not understand, we do not know the full scope of this.
Mm-hmm. In all honesty, you look at the mind of the average in power today, and all they want to do is fight. All they want to do is propagate violence. All they want to do is engage in meaningless things. This isn't what we were made for, guys. We are humans. We are not animals. We were meant to evolve and overcome and adapt, and instead we were just brainwashed and psyoped by these alien species that have come into our planet and taken over every aspect of life as we know it. If we aren't gonna stand up, then what else are we living for, you know? Our freedom and our rights, they are everything to us. Without them, we are nothing. So, when you guys go to sleep tonight, I hope you are going to sleep free of a neural port, free of a sector chip. All these bug-ridden advancements in technology, I hope you keep them as far away from you and never return to them. And I hope you gather every single person you find on the street and rise up against the gene weavers that are ever so prevalent in our society. Now, I did have another segment scheduled for you guys that was it'll go a bit more in depth onto the specifics of these gene weavers. In particular, Tajima Iku will be going over that in the coming days and his involvement in the grand scheme of things. We've had a testimony come forth from somebody very close to the Iku family, so we'll be unveiling that to you guys in the future very soon. I would stay tuned for that.
Bug hater 9999 makes a fantastic point in the chat right now, Yousef.
Mm-hmm.
They say, why do you think several of the 10 plagues of Egypt were bugs? That is something one must think about. This is the type of historical trend which one can analyze to see the influence of the bugs, because they are not infallible. They make mistakes, and you can see this sort of pattern.
If you want to go through and wow, did everyone see that? I don't know if you guys saw what I just saw, but all right, Dr. Rodrigo, I think the bugs are closing in on us. I think I think we might have to cut this short. I'm calling
I am
Habibi
hearing
security.
some strange sounds. I am hearing some strange sounds.
I'm getting Habibi security coming in. Habibi security coming in. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to call it here. I'll be back with you. This has been Yousefstani and Dr. Rodrigo Morgan, Oliveira, Mendes, Morgan Oliveira.
Mendes. It's not Morgan. It's Mendes. Same Brazilian.
It's same thing, but they're on to us. So I'll see you guys all in the next broadcast. Thank you all for coming. Have a blessed day, and watch out for the bugs, Habibi TV.
Remember
let's
to
go.
tweet.
Let's fucking go. Let's get out of here.
Just the on a track, and it's not nice.
Go, come on, man. Come on. Down the stairs. Come on. No. Leave the elevator. We gotta keep going.
We just gotta jump. I think we gotta jump. We gotta jump.
We won't make it if we jump. What are you talking about, jump? Come on.
Just jump. It's on fucking fire. Just jump.